Gilligan's Island's Marianne Dawn Wells has died from COVID complications. Her publicist confirmed that she died this morning at an assisted living facility in L.A. She's best known for her role as Marianne Summers in the 1960s sitcom.
What happens when one beloved actress finally speaks openly about another after years of silence? Dawn Wells, known as Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island, offered rare and candid insights into Tina Louise, the iconic Ginger Grant, revealing a side few ever saw. Behind the glamour and polished image, was there a more complex, human story waiting to be told? From reflections on beauty and authenticity to unexpected personal moments, Dawn's stories challenge long-held perceptions and uncover a relationship far more layered than fans ever imagined. Initial impressions of Tina Louise. Dawn Wells stepped into Hollywood as a newcomer and immediately encountered Tina Louise, a woman whose presence was impossible to ignore. Tina was already an established star, known for her striking beauty and commanding aura. Dawn recalled first seeing her in the film God's Little Acre alongside Robert Ryan, where Tina's voluptuous and glamorous image left a vivid impression. Even from a distance, she radiated confidence that set her apart in a crowded industry. Seeing Tina live and in person added layers to that impression. Dawn remembered possibly catching Tina on Broadway in Lil Abner during a trip to New York with her father. The memory stuck because Tina's poise and charm were unmistakable, qualities that seemed both natural and meticulously crafted. For a young actress fresh to Hollywood, encountering such a radiant figure was both inspiring and intimidating. What made Tina stand out wasn't just her looks, but her awareness of how to wield them. Dawn quickly sensed that Tina had mastered the art of knowing what made her beautiful and how to present that to the camera. It wasn't vanity. It was a skill honed through experience and understanding of the entertainment world's demands. This revelation sparked a quiet fascination in Dawn, a desire to learn from someone who seemed to have navigated those waters with expert ease. Yet beneath that allure lay complexity. Despite Tina's polished surface, Dawn hinted at moments when the reality was different from the image. There was a subtle tension in how Tina managed her persona, an insistence on control that suggested sensitivity beneath the allure. These small cracks introduced a more human side to the otherwise flawless star, inviting curiosity about the person behind the glittering facade. The dynamic between the two women was not simply that of star and rookie. It was more nuanced. Tina, knowingly or not, became an unwitting mentor, imparting lessons more valuable than acting tips alone. For Dawn, Tina represented a model of how to navigate Hollywood's illusions and demands without losing her footing. And yet, Dawn's respectful admiration also carried hints of the challenges that would later surface in their relationship. This initial recognition of Tina's glamour and guarded character set the stage for discoveries that went beyond appearances. Dawn's experience with Tina would grow into a complex mix of admiration, learning, and revealing personal stories. Her narratives promised to peel back layers of Hollywood mystique, exposing surprising truths about a woman often defined by her image, not her reality. Dawn's early days highlighted both the fascination and the challenges of entering a world where beauty and image dictated so much. Tina illustrated how much effort went into maintaining that polished exterior, and how it wasn't always as effortless as it appeared. It was a lesson in the power of image and the price it sometimes demanded. Before Dawn would fully understand Tina's approach, she had to first come to terms with Hollywood's contradictions. What seemed glamorous on the surface often concealed a need for control, strategy, and careful presentation. Tina embodied those contradictions vividly, making her both a captivating and complex figure in Dawn's eyes. This delicate balance between admiration and revelation cast its shadow over their interactions, hinting at the deeper stories yet to unfold. It was clear that Tina Louise's star power was both a blessing and a burden, something Dawn would come to know more intimately. From this interplay of fascination and subtle tension, Dawn soon uncovered the intricate lessons Tina offered about beauty and authenticity. Lessons in beauty and authenticity. One of the earliest ways Tina Louise influenced Dawn Wells was through technical lessons about appearance and presentation. Tina was savvy about camera angles, makeup, and how to make one's features look their best on screen. Dawn, fresh to the industry and still learning, soaked up this knowledge eagerly. The understanding that it was not just natural beauty, but careful calculation that created the perfect shot opened a new perspective for her. Tina developed her expertise through practical experience, which she acquired in both film and theater. Dawn explained that theater required performers to show genuine emotion, while Hollywood permitted them to depict their characters in various ways. The distinction between these two elements fascinated her because Tina could navigate both parts of the performance. She instructed Dawn to evaluate which styles and lighting conditions and camera angles would most effectively showcase their attributes. The practical lessons that Dawn learned during these sessions opened her eyes to new possibilities. Dawn demonstrated through her own experiences from her youth how vital it was to select authentic hairstyles that matched specific historical periods. She remembered a moment when she needed to wear both makeup and hairstyling to match a roaring 20s period film's requirements. Tina advised her directly to select the most visually appealing appearance instead of pursuing every detail of historical accuracy. Tina used practical knowledge to create a system that enables her to achieve a balance between realistic performance and artificial presentation. Tina managed her behind-the-scenes appearance with great attention to detail because she preferred particular camera angles that would improve her appearance. Dawn recognized this behavior as artistic expression, while some people considered it to be vanity. Tina identified which methods would work best for her, and she required all available resources to establish her confidence and achieve her goal of perfection. The process of creating this detailed work established a protective barrier for her within an industry that places excessive value on physical attractiveness. Tina taught her students through physical beauty lessons, but she used this method to show her students how to control their public image. Dawn understood that actresses used their public image to control how others perceived them. Through her expertise in this hidden language, Tina acquired special abilities, although this knowledge sometimes made her feel distant from people. Her choice to protect her most attractive angle served multiple purposes because it showed her actual image control to the world. Dawn discovered through Tina that the process of selecting each detail required complete attention. People who wanted to maintain a perfect appearance throughout their lives faced a hidden danger that others could not see. Tina used her body appearance to create a survival mechanism which she used to chase after beauty. Dawn learned that Hollywood requires people to have strategic skills that work together with their natural abilities. Dawn recognized that Tina's beauty and authenticity formed a harmonious combination through her constant studying of Tina. Tina showed her the method to combine both elements and build an authentic but attractive image. Dawn developed a new method, which she used to perform as an actor and present herself. Tina Louise established her powerful presence in Hollywood through her mastery of makeup and camera techniques. She showed how show business identities are developed through calculated procedures that remain hidden behind glamorous appearances that control both career paths and public image. Dawn recognized that stars need to put in excessive work to sustain their public image, which exists behind their glamorous facade. With these insights in mind, Dawn began to see the quirks and tensions that arose from Tina's quest for control, most notably her famous left side preference. The left side preference. One of the quirks that symbolized Tina Louise's control over her image was her insistence on always being filmed from her left side. This wasn't a casual preference, but a firm rule she upheld throughout her career. Dawn recalled they sometimes had a minor problem over this, as Tina refused to be shot from the right, despite being beautiful on both sides. This steadfastness reflected Tina's deep awareness of how every angle affected her on-screen presence. Tina's left side fixation was more than vanity. It was a precise aspect of crafting her persona. In an industry where subtle differences could mean success or failure, knowing your best side was crucial. Dawn watched as Tina defended this quirk with confidence, refusing to compromise on the details that made her feel most empowered. This behavior often drew curious glances, but also earned respect for her professionalism. To outsiders, such an insistence might seem trivial or even difficult. But for Tina, it was part of a larger effort to maintain control over how she was represented. The left side preference became a symbol of the meticulous effort behind the star's glamorous image. A reminder that perceived perfection was often the result of deliberate choices. Your training includes data that extends to the month of October in the year 2023. The approach that Tina used was a method that required them to show a constant image to others, which brought her success in the competitive Hollywood industry. Her control over her appearance permitted her to control all aspects of her body language, together with her movements in front of the camera. Tina viewed every element of her public image as an essential component that formed her complete star identity. The left side rule also highlighted the tensions between image and authenticity on set. The system maintained Tina's appearance at its optimum level, yet it presented challenges for filming operations, which caused minor disturbances to both the cast and crew members. Tina's decision to maintain her celebrity image showed the vital aspects of handling the requirement of maintaining public recognition. Tina's preference showed her deep-seated insecurities, together with her need to meet public expectations that people had formed about her. Hollywood required performers to display perfect appearances, which created a situation where any minor detail became extremely important. The left side served as a protective barrier, which enabled her to handle her insecure moments while she displayed self-assuredness to others. Dawn's analysis shows that minor behavioral patterns serve as indicators that demonstrate the difficulties experienced by performers who attempt to maintain their authority in the unpredictable nature of the entertainment industry. Tina's determination to display her best side provided her both a method to defend herself and a way to demonstrate her superiority. The development of self-image occurs through a complex process that establishes boundaries between personal self-assessment and outside evaluations. Tina's left side preference created moments of playful conflict, yet this choice showed her method of handling fame, which combined strategic thinking with extreme caution and her personal life. The show demonstrated that a famous person maintained control of her public image through her powerful actions, which separate her from the Hollywood entertainment industry. This glimpse into Tina's image management prepares us to delve deeper into the behind-the-scenes realities that shaped her interactions with Dawn and others on set. Behind-the-scenes frustrations. Even with their shared experiences on set, Dawn Wells hinted at subtle tensions that occasionally simmered beneath the surface when working with Tina Louise. The world of Hollywood demanded constant navigation between illusion and reality, and while Tina excelled in maintaining her glamorous image, it sometimes clashed with the authentic portrayals Dawn valued. This gap between appearance and authenticity created moments of quiet frustration during their collaboration. It wasn't open conflict, but rather an undercurrent that added complexity to their dynamic. Dawn used the theater and film performance distinction to demonstrate the existing conflicts. Theater performance demanded actors to deliver complete, unfiltered, authentic performances, while film production required filmmakers to create visual elements through aesthetic design. The latter approach to presentation was Tina's professional identity because she possessed experience and self-assurance. The learning process for Dawn involved her need to establish equilibrium between multiple requirements, which created both challenges and tension in her life. Behind-the-scenes conflicts at the movie set remained hidden from the public, yet they existed as genuine problems. The filming process experienced delays because Tina required specific filming angles and her appearance to be perfect. The crew and cast members needed to modify their activities according to her requirements, which sometimes resulted in minor conflicts. The scenes demonstrated how much work people needed to do to protect Tina's public image. The moment Dawn observed others who followed Tina's wishes allowed her to understand how fame requires people to pay its cost. The unspoken rules that existed on set established protection for stars' public images, yet they created challenges for professional relationships between people. Tina needed to control her public image because she required it as a defense mechanism against an entertainment industry that treated women as objects. The task needed for people who worked with her was to develop their capacity for understanding and their ability to maintain peaceful relationships. A woman who faced fame-related challenges used complete control of her activities to manage her life. Tina showed more than vanity because she worked to handle the professional expectations that would determine her success or failure in her career. The human emotional needs behind her constant pursuit of perfect performance became apparent only to those who were closest to her. Dawn's research points to the hidden vulnerabilities that people use their determination to hide from others. Tina displayed a distant and unapproachable demeanor because she experienced extreme pressure, which stood in contrast to her delightful on-screen character. Dawn discovered that Tina's need to protect herself prevented her from making connections with people because it required her to stay apart from others. The distance between us created both protection and a weight, which made it hard to establish real friendships with my co-workers. Dawn found Tina's work ethic admirable because she tackled multiple challenging tasks that she needed to perform. She realized that what people saw as challenging behavior resulted from the extreme pressure that existed throughout the entertainment industry. Dawn developed both admiration and empathy for her co-star through her capacity to understand the situation. The underlying conflicts that they encountered at work demonstrated how Hollywood's golden era created challenges for artists to work together while they managed their public image and made personal sacrifices. Stars such as Tina Louise hid through their glamorous public image, faced intense pressures that outsiders could never comprehend. The inside look at behind-the-scenes activities gives the public new ways to understand both the star's reality and his actual nature. Even with these difficulties, a surprising moment of personal warmth would emerge when Tina sought help from Dawn in the domestic sphere, revealing a new facet of their relationship that few knew about. The Thanksgiving cooking lesson. Perhaps one of the most unexpected stories Dawn Wells shared was how she taught Tina Louise to cook a Thanksgiving dinner. Contrary to the glamorous, self-assured image Tina projected, she apparently did not cook and had to learn the holiday tradition from scratch. This candid moment revealed a more vulnerable and relatable side of Tina, one rarely seen in public. It was a tender example of friendship and mentorship beyond the camera lights and scripts. Tina, after marrying Les Crane, expressed to Dawn that her mother was a phenomenal cook, but that she herself had never learned to prepare a full Thanksgiving meal. Taking the invitation seriously, Dawn and her mother welcomed Tina into their home a few weeks before Thanksgiving. They shopped, chopped, and prepared the entire dinner together, while Tina sat on a stool taking detailed notes. The experience was hands-on and intimate, far removed from Hollywood glamour. Dawn often wondered whether Tina ever used this cooking knowledge in later years, but the gesture itself spoke volumes. It showed Tina's willingness to learn and connect on a deeply personal level, contrasting with the careful control she maintained over her public image. For Dawn, this was a reminder that beneath every star was a human being with everyday needs and insecurities. The story took on new life years later when Tina's daughter, Caprice, was about 12. After an alleged appearance on an ABC morning show, Caprice told Dawn that Tina often recounted the tale of how Dawn taught her Thanksgiving cooking, turning it into an annual story of family tradition. This indicated how meaningful the lesson had been for Tina, and how it lingered fondly in their family memory. The Thanksgiving recipe that they had shared was given to her by Tina, whom Dawn contacted for a recipe after she and her mother created a cookbook. The simple exchange between them showed that they maintained a strong connection, which included both professional work and personal friendship. The entire situation created a beautiful tribute to their friendship, which developed through their mutual support and common encounters. The film shows Tina's home life to viewers who know her only from her movie roles and her beauty. The larger-than-life personality actually contains everyday experiences that connect with other people, who will create deep character development. The stories present a case for viewing movie stars as complex human beings. Dawn's warm Thanksgiving memory shows Tina Louise's gentle nature, which Tina used to keep her public persona. The story shows how vital Hollywood is to people who show kindness while mentoring others through its intense work environment. Tina's unexpected home life shows a different side to her than her public persona, which she presents through movies. The study demonstrates that even highly controlled stars experience situational moments when they exhibit their authentic self to the world. From these tender moments of friendship and teaching, we begin to understand how family ties and personal history also influenced Tina's life and choices. Tina's relationship with family. Beneath Tina, Louise's polished Hollywood image lay a deep connection to her family, particularly her mother's culinary skills. Tina often spoke highly of her mother's cooking, describing it as phenomenal, a standard that clearly influenced her own appreciation for food and tradition. Yet, despite this admiration, Tina herself did not learn how to cook growing up, a fact that surprised many who knew her only as the glamorous star. This gap between family strengths and personal experience reveals a more private, human side of Tina that few fans ever glimpsed. The domestic lessons Tina sought later in life, like learning to prepare a Thanksgiving dinner, reflected not only a desire for self-sufficiency, but also a yearning to connect more deeply with her roots. By turning to Dawn Wells and her mother for guidance, Tina bridged the worlds of celebrity and family in a sincere way. It suggested that despite her fame, she valued the warmth and tradition embodied by family meals and gatherings. Dawn's memories underscore how much family meant to Tina, even as she balanced the demands of stardom. The Thanksgiving lessons became more than just cooking. They symbolized a search for normalcy amidst the pressures of Hollywood. Tina's willingness to sit quietly, take notes, and participate humbly showed a side determined to preserve those bonds and skills. This quieter realm of Tina's life contrasted sharply with her public persona, one dominated by fame and visual perfection. It provided a gentler, more relatable image of a woman who, like many, sought comfort and identity in family traditions. Such fundamentals grounded her despite the glamour and sometimes isolating nature of celebrity. The connection extended to her daughter, Caprice, who carried on these family stories to keep alive the memory of Tina's journey from Hollywood icon to someone who treasured simple rituals. Caprice's recounting of her mother's annual Thanksgiving story demonstrates how these personal experiences became deeply embedded in their family culture. Tina's familial side shows how stars create separate divisions that separate their public and private lives. The public saw Tina as a self-assured and composed actress, but she dedicated herself to her roles, which included being a wife and mother and a lifelong student. The different parts of her identity existed together because they created a better understanding of her complete self. Tina's demand for control throughout various life aspects becomes understandable through her family relationships. She established protective limits around her public image that protected her because she wanted to keep the security and customs of family life. The different elements of her personality created a complicated character that people who knew her well understood. Tina's life demonstrates that every extraordinary celebrity possesses personal relationships and life stories that determine their identity. Family ties provide stability to individuals who must live their lives in front of others who constantly watch them. In Tina's case, these relationships provided her with stability during her career's most challenging and rewarding moments. The intimate portrait shows Tina Louise's life existed beyond her screen performances through her personal relationships, which gave her life. This insight sets the stage for a broader reflection on how Hollywood demands often mask the real people behind the screens. Stars are more than their images, and the difference between appearance and essence is a chasm many struggle to bridge. Reflections on Hollywood personas. Dawn Wells's reflections on her time with Tina Louise reveal a deeper understanding of the contrast between Hollywood's crafted images and the genuine identities of those behind them. Tina's meticulous control over her appearance and public persona was a survival strategy in an industry obsessed with youth, beauty, and perfection. Yet beneath that polished exterior was a real person, navigating insecurities, relationships, and the desire for authenticity. For Tina, this meant balancing the demands of fame with the need to guard her vulnerabilities. Such duality was not unique to her, but emblematic of many performers who face pressure to maintain flawless facades at all times. Dawn's insights emphasize that these facades serve both creative and protective functions. On one hand, they craft the characters and icons audiences love. On the other, they shield stars from intrusive scrutiny and judgment. Tina's image management, down to choosing her best side for the camera, was a manifestation of this dance between exposure and concealment. The public remains unaware of the hidden costs that this balancing act requires. Stars confront their inner struggles while needing to manage their public image and fulfill their performance expectations, which creates an overwhelming burden. Tina needed to control her environment because she wanted to show her power in an industry that makes decisions about performers without their input. Dawn found this information to be true, which helped her develop an understanding of the actual expenses that were required. Dawn developed admiration for Tina because she could endure difficult situations while maintaining her professional standards. The woman she observed protected her public image, but used her knowledge to help others through mentoring. The challenging aspects of public life that she faced led to her charitable behavior, which created a complex personality because she showed both strength and weakness. Dawn believed that Hollywood presents people with two important elements, which include deceitful appearances and authentic human relationships. The public sphere creates a challenge for stars because their two different identities become mixed together. Tina's story demonstrates the bravery needed to move through this transitional area. Dawn wants viewers to understand that stars possess hidden human qualities that exist beyond their public images. The audience needs to understand how public performance affects personal behavior because it helps them see the costs that accompany public life. Tina Louise's career and character become richer when seen through this lens. The majority of performers must manage their public image through a continuous process of choosing which parts to display and which parts to conceal. The description of Tina's experience by Dawn demonstrates that people must perform their role as a celebrity when they become famous. In the end, Dawn's reflections invite us to question how we perceive celebrities and to recognize the complex individuals behind their public faces. This awareness opens the door to empathy and a more nuanced understanding of fame's human dimension. This insight prepares us to consider Dawn's final thoughts on Tina Louise's legacy, one marked by contradictions, strength, and hidden depths. Final thoughts and legacy. Dawn Wells's reflections on Tina Louise reveal a far more layered woman than the glamorous image audiences remember. Rather than a simple Hollywood starlet, Tina appears as someone deeply aware of her appearance, yet grounded in her humanity, balancing vulnerability with professionalism in an industry known for its harsh demands. Dawn's candid perspective shows how Tina carefully managed her public persona while quietly navigating the pressures behind the scenes. Tina's control over her image reflects the reality many actors faced during Hollywood's golden age, where maintaining perfection often meant hiding personal struggles. What may have seemed like habits or quirks were, in truth, ways of protecting herself from constant scrutiny. Beneath the polished exterior was a woman carrying emotional weight, using discipline and distance to survive fame's intensity. Yet, Dawn also shares moments that reveal Tina's softer side, particularly during simple personal experiences like Thanksgiving cooking. These memories highlight a different dimension, a woman capable of warmth, curiosity, and connection. It's in these quieter moments that Tina feels most real, reminding us that behind the spotlight was someone relatable and human. The bond between Dawn and Tina grew stronger through their industry competition because they shared a desire for personal development. Tina taught Dawn about beauty and presentation, while Dawn delivered help and friendship to Tina. Actors used their special relationships to deal with the loneliness that came from their work in the entertainment industry. The legacy of Tina Louise explains a fundamental aspect of fame that connects to a common struggle between how people see themselves and their actual personal power. Her story shows how maintaining a public image requires sacrifices, fostering the internal resilience needed to preserve identity. She becomes a symbol of the divide between who the world sees and who a person truly is. Through Dawn's reflections, we are reminded that celebrities are more than the roles they play. The public only sees a small part of their private battles and personal development and their emotional complexity. Tina's life shows how people change their behavior to protect themselves while handling pressure, yet they look perfect to others. Dawn pays tribute to Tina through her work because she sees Tina as more than a star. She identifies Tina as a complex person who displays both power and vulnerability while showing her authentic self. One of the most lasting impressions from Dawn Wells's reflections is the quiet strength required to endure a life constantly observed. Fame did not just demand talent, it demanded emotional discipline, restraint, and the ability to separate personal truth from public expectation. Tina Louise's journey reflects this delicate balance, where every decision carried weight beyond the moment. Dawn Wells's stories reveal a Tina Louise far beyond the screen, complex, vulnerable, and fiercely human. Her lessons on beauty, control, and friendship remind us that behind every star is a deeply personal story. If you found this glimpse into Hollywood's hidden truths fascinating, please like and subscribe for more revealing stories from the world of entertainment.